Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, or you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How are you? I'm pre-recording this because I have a training. I normally record all mine on Friday. You might not have known that. And lately I've had to pre-record some, but today I'm recording and it's the first day of a new month. And I'm excited. And I know all of you that listen to me and follow me on social know that I love new weeks. I love new mornings. I love new starts of the month, because it gives us an invitation. Not that we couldn't take that anytime in any given day and any time of the month, but it gives us an invitation to really think about how we want this month to go, which means that we have to reflect on how last month went. And I think with all the things that I teach on this podcast, it's really all about self-awareness. And you probably get sick of me saying that term, but it's so true. If we don't know and we haven't assessed how last month went for us, how is it possible that we can really think and create a strategy and set some intentions for how this month is going to go? So I hope that you gave yourself that gift of that time to really kind of reflect on, what was my life like last month? How did I spend it? How did I invest my time? Am I happy about the way it went? Am I discouraged about the way it went? And not in blame or shame or anything like that, just in how you feel about the month. And that gives you an opportunity to set some different intentions on what you might start doing, what you might continue doing, and what you might stop doing altogether. And it's that investment of time piece that I really want to plug into today, because this podcast is a part 2. Yes. So last week, I introduced you to time. We talked about how we don't have a time problem. Time just is. And I believe, and I mentioned that last podcast, so if you missed it, catch it. But I believe the reason that we are so fixated on this idea of time is because we have been led to believe that it's fixed. Now, before I lose you, hang with me. I also teased out this idea that time is just a mental construct. And why, yes, we all have the same amount of it. There's 24 hours in everybody's day. There is an opportunity for each and every one of us to create more time within the time that we have. And if that's a possibility and a truth, which I'm going to defend again today, then time isn't fixed, which is amazing to those of us, most of us, that chase it, that offer up to anyone that will listen, there's not enough time, or I wish I had more time, or I wish there was another person. I wish there was another me. And the only reason why we would want another me, right, is so we could get more done, because we don't have enough time. So we are going to debunk that myth about not having enough time. And I didn't get to this in the last podcast, so I wanted to tease it out in this one, because I think it's so, so, so important that we understand the precious gift that time is, and that we create strategies around having time. I teased out last podcast that similarly with money, it doesn't matter necessarily how much we make. It matters how much we have, and how much we have is a is a complete equation with regards to how much we spend and how much we save. And the difference then is how much we have. Similarly with time, that same formula exists. There are things that cost us time, and there are things that allow us to create time. And so that is really what I want to dig in today. I teased it out again last podcast, but this is the work that we're doing all month long in our membership. Our membership is so special to me. It is so important to me. And I hope you can feel that from me today. It is an ecosystem. It is a home. It is a place that we can have real conversations, that we can really dig deep about what we think about and how we feel about all of the things. It's a space that we can be vulnerable. It's a space that we can be authentic. It is a space that we can be unapologetic. It is a space that we can share the things that we're excited about in life, along with the worries and the concerns on our hearts. And I want to grow that membership. I want to grow that membership to thousands of people, because I truly believe that if we're not investing in a membership, in a coaching platform where you get to access tools of self-discovery, you get to access frameworks so that you can really learn how to self-coach yourself in literally any situation, that we aren't setting ourselves up for success. And not only is that saddening to me, but if you're not setting yourself up for success, you're not role modeling that for the people that rely on you. I know that if you're listening to this, you are somebody that is a role model. I know that you lead organizations, you lead movements, you lead families. And sometimes we forget that our own personal growth and our own personal development matters, because we're spending an enormous amount of energy building up and enrolling everybody else in their potential. This membership is about enrolling you in your potential. And I would be honored if you were in there with us. And if not this membership, get yourself into community, get yourself into a program, a mastermind, in the room with really elevated, abundant-minded, growth-minded thinkers. That tip alone would change your life. Okay, so that was my little plug for the membership. It would mean the world to me if you were in there, if you supported it, if you shared this message with all of the people that you love and live with and lead, because I think it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us to really tap in to these skills and capabilities so that we can really step into the very best of who it is that we are. So let's go back to time. Let's break this down. Let's break down the things that cost us time and the things that make us time. And then if we have time, no pun intended, we can navigate through the compounding nature of time. And if we don't get to the compounding nature of time, we will for sure do that in the membership. So I want to see you in there. Okay, so if we want to create more time in our life, it makes sense that there are areas that we want to focus on. I mentioned earlier about money, right? It doesn't matter how much money you make, it matters how much money you have. And so similarly with time, how much money you have is dependent upon how much money you spend, what costs you money, and how much money we make, right? How we make money, okay? And then we have the compound component, which makes money on money, okay? As I mentioned before, time is a mental construct, okay? When we think of time, and I'm going to say this again, because I think it's super important, because most of us are fixated on time, okay? But it isn't fixed, okay? So I want you to think about time in your life and how you experience certain hours of time. We experience it differently, okay? An hour spent navigating what I might call a quote unquote difficult conversation most likely feels different than doing something we love doing, right? I know when I'm watching one of my favorite episodes of my favorite Netflix show, at the end, I'm like, oh my gosh, that went so fast. Like, are we sure we watched the whole thing? I know that's how they get you, but it was the same. It was the same 45 minutes. Okay. The way I experienced that time was different. Okay. So when we think about time, it is going to become really clear as to whether time is something that we spend or something that we create. Okay. Something that is never enough or something that is more than enough. Something that we waste, something that is costly, or something that we invest. Okay. Knowing the difference, I know there's a lot of subtlety there, but knowing the difference between time being something that's wasted versus time being an investment is critical for this whole conversation. Okay. I have witnessed clients spend time in a way that is very costly. Okay. And I have witnessed clients being able to complete 5, 10, 15 times more than others in the exact amount of time. How is that possible? Okay. Our clients that get more done don't spend time. They don't waste time. They don't lose time. They are deliberate with time. They are intentional with time. So I'm going to show you ways that we waste time and create time. Go deep with them in the membership. But I wanted to tease out just a few of these for you here, so that you can kind of wrap your head around what in the heck am I talking about, okay? If you want to have more time in your life, you must know where you are spending time and where you are creating time. So let's talk about some of the time costs that I see, okay? So I'm going to rattle some of these off, and then I'm going to go deep into a few of them. But I truly believe that if you can identify which of these, even if it's just 1, 2, or 3 of them, which one of these is costing you time, and you create strategies in your life to minimize them. And then when we talk about creating time, you create strategies in your life to maximize them. Guess what? The differentiator is you having more time. So time costs. People pleasing is a huge one, okay? Doubt, confusion. How much time do we waste in being confused by what to do? Or even there is a term, they call it decision fatigue, that creates and takes a tremendous amount of not only time, but money. Worrying, okay? Worrying takes up time. I mentioned this before. Indecision takes up time. Judgment, comparison, complaint, rumination, all of those, they're kind of cousins of worry, but they're all different. And each one of those cousins take up time, precious real estate in our mind that then costs us time. Regret, overwhelm, frustration, buffering, distractions, lack of boundaries. I could go on and on. There's certainly more, but that is just a really good list. So if you could eliminate some, if not all of these from your life, you would be amazed, absolutely amazed at how much time you would have left over. Most of the work that we do with our clients truly is to create more time by reducing the time costing activities that truly trip us up and prevent our progress. So let me tease out a few of them for you just so you can see, because I know right now they're just like, they're just words. They don't really cost us time. I disagree. Let's take 2. Let's do people pleasing and let's do buffering. I like those 2 because I have had to create tremendous amount of strategies to solve for those 2. So people pleasers. How many things do you say yes to when no as a complete sentence would be appropriate? Maybe not in your mind, but I'm telling you, I'm giving you permission that it would. All of those things that you're yesing, are costing you time. Every single thing that you say yes to against your will is costing you precious, precious time. Whenever you are raising your hand to either do something you don't feel like doing or not doing something that you actually would want to do, creates not just the time that's lost spent doing the thing, but in the heartache and the mental fatigue that is required for you to wrap your head around doing that thing and doing it with a good attitude, because God forbid you do something that you don't want to do and then come with a bad attitude about it, because that's not people pleasing. That's not being somebody that would be coined or deemed likable. So we waste a tremendous amount of emotional energy around that likability piece. Whereas if you just decided right now, today, that your likability had zero to do with you, and you just decided to like you would not need anyone to like you. That is going to speed up your progress in your life. Just that one thing will completely speed up the progress in your life, because then you don't need to have 1,000 different conversations on why it is that you did what you didn't want to do, or why it is that you didn't do what you wanted to do. And that all those conversations take time. Add it up. Okay. Buffering is escaping by doing, typically, overdoing, typically, so that you can avoid what I call a negative emotion. Okay. So we buffer in all sorts of different ways. We overeat, we overdrink, we overshop, we overdo, we overscroll, we over Netflix. What's so interesting about this is that on average, Americans spend between 1 and 2 hours just on social media a day. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, okay? But again, that's just social media. That's not all of the other bufferings, right? That's not us shopping on Amazon, okay? It's not us swiping on Instagram. Like, how did you shop for that? I just swiped up, right? That's what my girlfriend said. I'm like, where'd you get that? She's like, I swiped up. That's not including any of that, just social media, okay? If you extrapolate that 1 hour out for the week, and then 2 weeks, and then the month, and then the entire year, that is where I get month 13. When I extend to you that there's another month 13 for you, it's just in that piece alone. What could you do with another month? What could you do? What could you make more money if that's what you want to accomplish in your life? Do you want to have more experiences by way of travel and concerts and quality time with your kids and your husband or your wife? You want to have more team meetings? You want to do more self-care? You want to start a new hobby? Like, all of those things would be available to you if you limited any one of your buffers. That was just one. Think about if you eliminated many, you'd have a month 14, a month 15. No joke. The math doesn't lie. They all add up. Think about games on your phone. How much time do you spend just playing your game on your phone? And I'm not against buffers altogether. They're not all inherently bad, right? I think buffers can be a very a retreat, if you will, from life if you need. But I don't want any of you all to need a retreat from your life. I want you to create it intentionally so you don't. And the only reason why we think we do is because we haven't set it up that way. Okay. So those are just two of many, many things that cost us time. Okay. And as I mentioned in the last podcast, it is, if not, is our very most precious asset. And to the extent that we invest in it and create some intentionality around it, that's a big word, will determine, I truly believe, the quality and the capacity of the life that we get to live. So that's all the things that we do that cost us time. Let's talk about the things that we do that creates time, okay? People often are amazed at how much I do, right? I get asked a lot, like, when do you sleep? How do you get so much done? And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm not. I've just I've just had to put together strategies because I understand. I understand this fixation on time. I understand the fact that there are opportunities to create more within the time that we have. And so I've just been a student of this work. I've been a very studious student of this work. And this is what I want for all of my clients. Why? Because I believe that what we want more than anything, right, is freedom. Freedom to do what we want with who we want, whenever we want, for as long as we want. And do you know what that requires? Time. Time. If we were to give you an extra month of time back in your life, would you feel a little lighter? Would you feel a little less rushed? Would you feel a little less panicked? Would you be able to create time, make more, dream more? Or would you just continue to spend it? What's so interesting about money is people think that once they make more money, they will have more money. But what happens, research is clear on this, is they don't. They don't save more money, they just spend more. They spend to the equivalent that they make. And that what that equates to is a formula of not having more. Okay? So I really want us to get really intentional about not only reducing the things, reducing our spending on time, but in creating habits that will allow us to have more time within the time that we have. Okay. So what are the things that I do to create time? Okay. One's the opposite of the people pleasing one that I gave you. I just have learned to say no as a complete sentence. That has been so huge for me because I used to over yes everything. And now I defend it. And now I defend it because I know how important this is. And when I am saying yes to something that I don't want, I am literally saying no to myself. I'm saying no to my soul. I'm saying no to what I value. I'm saying no to each and every one of you because you are who I say yes to. Like, I need the time and the space to create, to write these outlines for these podcasts, to kind of think about the topics for the membership, to work with my clients and to continue to be an avid learner of everything neuroscience and everything behavior change. So if it doesn't have to do with that, and it doesn't have to do with my family and my friends and experiences and travel, I have to ask a lot of other questions. I have to get to a value proposition that is congruent with my soul. That's what's required, okay? I live by my clarity words, right? Those become my litmus test. Those become my deciding criteria as to whether or not I say yes or I say no. Having these are a game changer. They are a game changer because if it doesn't align with that, it's just a no for me. And I don't have to make any excuses. Okay. I plan. I Sunday set. We're going to go deep into the Sunday set in this month's training. Sunday setting is the most intentional strategy that I use and that I teach every single one of my clients to do to make the very most of their week. It is when we make all of our decisions in 1 hour on Sunday. Think about how much time you would create in your life if you weren't making all the decisions that you make every single day. If you just decided ahead of time, one, how much more efficient would you be? How much less exhausted would you be negotiating with yourself about what you're going to do and what you're not going to do? Just think about how streamlined your weeks would go because you've already planned it out. Now all you have to do is flip open the calendar and follow your plan. There's no decisions like, what should I do today? What should be my top 3? Who are the people that I should know? It's you've already decided. It's huge. Making decisions ahead of time is the secret. I promise you it's a secret, because then you don't have to negotiate with that lower part of your brain that, again, doesn't want you to make progress in your life, right? It's that part of your brain that's like, no, we don't need to work out today. We'll work out tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and we we'll work out the next day, right? Or whatever it is that you're navigating to make progress for in your life, okay? The other thing, I just commit to my plan. And it's much easier to commit to my plan when I've made that decision ahead of time, because then I don't negotiate with myself. I take massive action, and I have tremendous amount of failure tolerance, And I want to do it fast. I want to fail as quickly as I can, because I know that on the other side of that failure is success. And I want that fast. So I'm willing to fail fast. These are just a few of the ways that I get back my time, because when we're not willing to fail fast, we procrastinate. That's the only reason we don't take action right now. I promise you. The reason that we all procrastinate as humans is because if we don't take action, then we won't fail. And you've heard me say it. You've probably heard lots of other leaders in this industry say it. That's just failing ahead of time, right? It is, but it is because we haven't been taught failure as a skill set to cultivate, right? So the more we reduce the things that cost us time and increase the things that create time, the more time we will have. And then we just get to compound time with the time that we have, right? I really want us to tap into, at least this month, to time, to change our relationship with it, because we're not very nice to it, to embrace time as the gift that it is, to get our priorities set so that we can manage ourselves around time instead of being fixated on time because we have been conditioned to believe it's fixed when it is not. If you could believe that time was not fixed and that you could create an abundance of time, how would that change your relationship with it? How would that change your relationship with the things you do and your intentionality within it? That is the question. I hope that you will join us this month. I really, really do. And other than that, I hope that you will honor you and honor your time, because it matters, because you within it matters. All right, my beautiful friends. Love you so much, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahrowling.com.